Martavius Thomas, the highest rated HBCU baseball recruit in history, joins the show to discuss the pressures of having that label and then how he has overcome and grown within pressure throughout his life. Oh, yeah, it's Locked on HBCU. Play my music.
You are Locked on HBCU, your daily podcast covering HBCU sports. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked on HBCU podcast, your number one daily one-stop shop for everything HBCU athletics, Monday through Friday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I, of course, am Darian Gray, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, Texas Southern alum and former TSU Herald Sports editor and contributing writer at USA Today's Saints Wire. I appreciate you for going on this journey with me, making Locked on HBCU your first listen of the day every day. But remember, when the mic cuts off, that does not mean that the journey is over. It just means it's time to follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives. And speaking of number one, right? Because this is our number one daily one-stop shop. We have the number one recruit in HBCU baseball history to discuss the pressures that come with that label, to discuss what made him make this decision of Grambling, and then also the future after this point at Grambling and the MLB draft and everything in between. This was a phenomenal interview, just the way I said it would be on Wednesday, and it ended up being that. So let's see what the label of being the top recruit ever in HBCU baseball means to Martavius. So I'm here with Martavius Thomas, the highest rated recruit in HBCU baseball history. And for some, that's bragging rights. We talked a little bit about how people are going to show love. They're going to show a little bit of hate. But for you personally, Martavius, what does it mean to be the highest rated recruit in HBCU baseball history?
Hey, man, it's an honor. You know what I'm saying? I'm real big on my culture and like where I come from, you know what I'm saying? And like just the decision itself was kind of like a landmark for me. You know what I'm saying? It really wasn't nothing that I always thought about, if I'm being honest. But like when I felt like I had the chance to be able to do that and make something big happen like that, it was a no-brainer for me. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of, like God kind of led me where my heart needed to be. You know what I'm saying? And whenever your heart leads you, that's exactly where you'll be at. So yeah, it means the whole world to me. You know what I'm saying? To hold that honor and walk around with that on my back. You know what I'm saying? Now, I oftentimes don't think about it. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to my attention, I definitely thank God to be able to be in this platform and to be able to do what I did. You know what I'm saying?
So with the attention is obviously going to come a lot of pressure. Is this something that you've mentally prepared yourself to deal with? Is it something that is even a concern to you at all, or anything that you even think about the pressure that comes with being the highest rated recruit?
To be honest, man, I've been around pressure since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always been supposedly, the big kid on the block. You know what I'm saying? When it came to sports and just pretty much anything that came with it, man, I've thrived in pressure. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like my granny used to always say, pressure make diamonds. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I really just don't even look at the pressure. I just kind of I overcome it at all times. Like I live for that moment. Like when everybody's looking at me, all eyes on me, that's when I play my best. I perform my best, and I just carry myself a little bit different when I know the pressure's on. So I really just don't even think about the pressure, man. It's not even the pressure for me. It's just being who I am, and I just trust that I'm plenty enough. You know what I'm saying? I'm plenty enough talented. God has blessed me tremendously to be able to pretty much do whatever I wanted to do with a ball in my hand. So it's not even about the pressure. It's just me being who I am and staying true to that and just not even worried about that and blocking out the outside noise and just, doing my thing, man.
At what point was that switch? Where, because I have to assume that when you're a little kid, when you first became, as you said, the big kid on the block, that pressure had to be a little heavy on you, and then maybe you got adjusted to it, or is this something that's just always been second nature to you?
Oh no. Like when I was a real, like probably like elementary up, man, I had so much pressure of being. That's when I first became the big kid on the block, and I struggled with it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It was tough. Like it's not fair for an 8, 9 year old kid to have this big weight on his shoulders. Like I couldn't be a kid. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't make mistakes, stuff like that. But when I got in like middle school, that's when I was like, hey man, I'm plenty enough. I don't have to do too much of nothing. Like I don't have to try and impress nobody. All I gotta do is impress myself, and that's plenty good enough. So yeah, I say like 6, 7th grade. That's when that switch clicked on, where like I was like, hey man, be you, be
Yeah.
you. God made you plenty enough. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's kind of when the switch clicked on for me. But definitely when I was younger, it was tough, man. It was rough because like where I come from, a lot of guys don't make it out, or you know what I'm saying. A lot of guys don't play sports or baseball. You know what I'm saying? So like
Mm-hmm.
it was different. Like I was the only guy. Like I was the big fish, but like the pond was big because I had a lot of shoes to fill, in a sense, you know. So, but like once I figured it all out, man, and I just made it within myself and made up in my mind that I was just gonna be me, and whatever happens, happens. Straight success from there on.
You mentioned how not a lot of people play baseball specifically. So how
Right.
do you get into baseball? If that's not something you're surrounded by, that's not something that you typically see your peers or maybe the people you look up to playing. How does Martavius Thomas get into playing baseball at the very beginning?
See, my father played baseball. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And when I was about 2 years old, I tell the story all the time. When I was about 2 years old, at my rec league, like my boys and girls club in my hometown, like the age group to start being able to play like t-ball is like 3 or 4 years old. I was like 2 years old, man. He put me out there. Like I could barely. I was just starting to walk real good. You know what I'm saying? But he threw me out there. Like the hat was too big, jersey was too big, pants was too big. The only thing that
Yeah.
fit was my cleats, man. But and I really think I thank him for that every day, man, because it gave me a jump start. Like that like that's how I got put in baseball. He put the ball in my crib before I could walk, you know what I'm saying? And I just always ran around the house with the ball. Like even on birthdays and Christmas, man, don't buy me no toys, don't buy me no clothes, buy me a bag of balls, man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's how I was. And I've been like that my whole life, man. Like I've traveled the whole world playing ball and just that's just how it's been, man. My whole life. I've always had a ball in my hand. And then like, man, another thing, like with me being so young, everybody always thought I was like 2 or 3 age groups older than what I really am. Like I
Mhm.
just graduated. People thought I
Yeah.
was in college already because I played up with those guys that's sophomore, juniors in college. Like, no, man, I ain't graduated. I just graduated. Like I'm not you guys' age, man. I just played up with y'all, and like it made a difference when I played. Like it was tough when I first started playing up. Don't get me wrong, I struggled, But like once I got to a point where the game got easy and I started dominating with kids older than me, you can only imagine what it was when I came to guys that were my age. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
was like 20 steps over them, 20 leaps over them. And it's because my dad put me where I needed to be, essentially. You know what I'm saying? If I would have played with my age group my whole life, it wouldn't benefit me much. I mean, I'd get better, but not as much as you will when you play with people that's bigger than you, stronger than you, faster than you. You know what I'm saying? Smarter than you and older than you, essentially. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it just kind of helped me out, man, and it brought me to where I'm at now. That's why I have no problem playing with old guys. You know what I'm saying? I just been doing it my whole life. I'm actually more accustomed to playing with guys that are older than me. You know what I'm saying? So like this year in high school, I've never been an upperclassman in my life. So this year in high school, when I was a senior, man, I felt weird being the older cat on the block. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't normal to me. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get adjusted and adapted to that.
Man, that's amazing. That story you told at the beginning about putting the ball into your crib, it reminds me of this story I just recently heard about Bryce Young, where
Right.
he said that his dad dropped the football and he caught it at like 2. Bryce doesn't believe the story, but like it's this crazy moment where
Right.
sometimes we just realize our kid, or I don't know if this is how your dad felt, but our kid is just, oh, this guy has a gift. There's something special
Right.
about this kid, and you learn that early. I think that's great. And I want to move forward and discuss the recruiting process, because Grambling wasn't your first school, but hopefully, well, no, not hopefully, it is going to be your last school. So I'm excited to hear the process from Arkansas to Grambling as we move forward with Locked on HBCU. Today's episode is brought to you by Birddogs and Birddogs. This is no song this time if you were there on Wednesday, right? For my everydayers. No song this time, but Birddogs is just so comfortable. I'm wearing a pair of Birddogs as we speak. I love them because they feel like I'm just wearing air. That's how comfortable they are. So comfortable that you could look down and be like, am I even still wearing these things? Hopefully you are, depending on where you are. But hopefully you're still wearing them. But Birddogs are that comfortable, you never want to take them off. They have material where you feel like you can go hop in the pool. You can go hop in the shower if you want to. That's kind of weird. That's probably the one place you should take them off at. But still, Birddogs are comfortable for everything, activities, running errands, relaxing, working out, being by the pool or in the pool. They are the most comfortable utility shorts, man, because they do every single thing. So go to birddogs.com/locked on. And if you use the promo code locked on college, you get a free custom Birddog Yeti tumbler free of charge with whatever your purchase is. And as we continue rolling with today's episode of Locked on HBCU, I have Martavius Thomas, the highest rated recruit in HBCU baseball history. We just discussed the pressures of this move, but now that you're here, you're at Grambling. It's the question I know everybody's asked. Off the record, on the record, text messages, DMs you probably haven't answered yet, but I'll ask you here because people want to know. Why Grambling specifically?
Grambling is the essential family structured program. Grambling is the place you want to come back to after you retire and you just want to kick back and relax. That's the school you want to go to. Let me tell you, man, Coach Pierre, Coach Adams, that is the most heartfelt, family-oriented program in the country that I've visited pretty much any school in the country that you can name. I've got an offer from any school you can think of, D1 to you know what I'm saying, to any level. Man, it's so different. You know what I'm saying? It's so different. Like me being from Arkansas, it was really tough. Don't get me wrong. For me to make that decision to go to Grambling, don't get me wrong, it was tough. It was tough. But like I said earlier, the heart definitely push you everywhere you need to be. The heart literally led me to Grambling. Like, man, like the one thing that I fell in love with, me and my parents fell in love with Grambling, not once did they ever talk about baseball on visit. I went to Grambling. I'm gonna tell you, man, a story, crazy story. I went to Grambling the first time. I was still committed, hard committed to Arkansas, but I was looking at Memphis as well. You know what I'm saying? Hard committed,
Okay.
hadn't signed, but I didn't have no intentions on going to Grambling. I was just going to watch a game. They played Southern. What a game did I choose to come to? They played Southern, the rival. So yeah. I'm there and I'm just watching like, that's crazy. Like these boys can play. You know what I'm saying? Like these cats, they some dogs, you know what I'm saying? But besides that, it was just, man, when I walked in, it felt like a warm hug. Everybody speak to you. They know who you are. Do you want something to drink? Do you want something to eat? Like, man, do you need anything? And I went home with something on my mind. And I can tell you what it was. I can tell you exactly what it was. It was, am I really going to make that decision? I promise. I had no doubt in my mind that Grambling was now in my top 2 choosing schools. I had no doubt in my mind.
With Arkansas, were you already committed to?
I was hard committed to Arkansas, man. I committed to Arkansas when I was a freshman.
Yeah.
A freshman in high school. I verbally committed to Arkansas January 29th, 2019. So, yeah, my freshman year of high school. Man, and like it was so crazy. So I actually ended up going back. I loved it so much. I was like, man, I gotta make sure I like it for real. So I went to the Texas Southern game. They played at home. They had a 3-game series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I came to the Saturday game. And they came back in an extra inning thriller. And like this time, like I'm getting treated like the president. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you just feel so valued at Grambling. So there was no doubt in my mind. When I went home, man, I was like, they're in the top 2 for sure. So, and the crazy thing about it, on signing day, when I woke up, I was like, man, I may go to Arkansas. I might stick with my first decision. On my way to my signing, I was like, man, I might want to go to Memphis. But when I sat down, actually at the table,
Yeah.
I knew exactly where I was going. I knew exactly. So I went to the bathroom. Me and my dad changed our shirts. Me, my dad, and my mom changed our shirt. I actually got somebody to run home to my house, and I forgot the Grambling hats. And I was like, hey, go get them Grambling hats. We going to the G, baby.
Yeah.
And beforehand,
Yeah.
I didn't even know about the history thing. I heard about it on Twitter.
Mhm.
Like, people were talking about it. Like, hey, like after I posted my top 3, they were like, hey, he could be the highest recruit. Like, he's going to be the highest recruit to ever go to Grambling if he chooses. But, like, nothing becomes real until it happens. That was one of those things. And so, like, when I signed, and it was live on YouTube. So when I signed, I just remember my phone, bloom, bloom, bloom. And I just looked down, and I got like 100 messages, like 400 DMs on Twitter, like 2,000 retweets. I'm like, yo, what's going on? And I look like Martavius Thomas hires ranked recruit. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. And then, like, yeah, man, that's how it happened.
So take me to that moment. Take me to the moment when you said, you know what? It's not Arkansas. It's not Memphis. Go home and get me the Grambling hats. What was the switch in your head that flipped and said, this is confirmed where I'm going?
I just felt something tugging in my heart so bad. And my mom, man, the night before, she told me she had a dream of something black and gold.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like a treasure chest. It was black and gold, and it had like the G engraved on the front. And that's when she knew. Like, well, she didn't tell me till on my way. She calls me because I was later. I came later to my signing. My signing started at 2. They got there like 1:30 to set everything up. And I'm nervous, man. I'm at the crib nervous. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a big decision. You know what I mean? So I'm just, whew. So, man, I'm on my way. She was like, hey, I had a dream. I was like, what's up? She was like, man, I had a dream that it was a treasure chest, and it was black and gold, and it had a G on it. And I hung up. Hung up the phone. Hung up the phone, man. I promise. I hung up the phone. And I got there. And yeah, like when I woke up, like I said, I was going to Arkansas. On my way, because I hung up because I was like, nah, I think I'm gonna go to Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then when I sat down, everybody clapping as I walk in, and it hit me. It just hit my heart. I was like, go get those hats. And it was crazy, man. Like, you could see every like newspaper analyst, every sports analyst, journalist, mouth hit the ground.
Yeah.
Like, it was like it, and it was a thing that they got to write about. Like, they were happy they had something to write about, but it was just such a shocker. Such a shocker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people found it shocking because we've seen HBCUs being somebody's top whatever, and then it
Right.
ended up not happening.
Not
So for you
happening.
to make this decision, it was big. It was major, man. What was the first moment or the go-to moment when you think about, I just made my decision, I'm a Grambling Tiger, the next memory after the decision?
Let's get to work.
Mm.
Let's get to work. I called Coach Adams right after. As soon as I wrote my name down, I FaceTime Coach Adams. I was like, hey, yo, baby, it's official. And, man, the whole locker room went nuts. They had been waiting on that call, man. So the whole locker room goes nuts. Like Coach Pierre, Coach Adams, our pitching staff, coach, all that. Like, they went nuts. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, 20 minutes after, I called Coach Ellis. I called Coach Ellis, Wilbur Ellis. He's in the Coaches Hall of Fame. I called him. He says, "What's up? What's up, Prime?" I said, "What's up, Coach?" I said, "You ready for me to come?" He said, "When you gonna make the decision?" I said, "I just did." Man, it went nuts from there too. So that's when I knew. That's when I knew. I was like, "Yeah, that's what's up." But that was my next memory. I instantly thought, "Let's get to work." And then I called them. And then, oh yeah, another memory, the memory right before, bro, right after I seemed to get to, like, I put in my mind, like, let's get to work, was I remember like millions of like 30, probably 30, 31 scouts called me back from the MLB. And they was like, hey, that's big. Great decision. So I knew exactly then. Some people ain't gonna like it, but the people that are down for me and they love me, that's who the decision was made for. Not for the people that ain't gonna like it, but the people that's gonna love it and the people that need it and the people that, like, we deserve this. So the fact, like, me making that decision, that's who it was for. Yeah. That's when I knew then I got the positive feedback from scouts. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a deception that HBCU boys can't play. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no talent.
Yeah.
So I feel like God, that was a plan in that was God's plan. Somebody like me with this platform and this stature to make that happen. For sure.
And I think that's a perfect lead into the future. And that's what we'll dive into in the closing segment of today's show. And man, I really do appreciate you coming on. Seriously, we're going to discuss the future of you at Grambling and then also your MLB hopes as we wrap up today's episode of Locked on HBCU. And as wrapping up today's episode of Locked on HBCU, I have Martavius Thomas, the highest rated recruit in HBCU history. And you just discussed the MLB scouts who texted you right after you made the decision. When you see that, is your mind even on the MLB anymore? Or is this just like, I'll just think about that a year from now or 2 years from now? I'm not even concerned about the MLB prospects at this moment.
I'm not gonna say it, I'm not focused on it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But it's not a must. You know what I mean? Like, I've been fortunate enough to be one of the top players in the country since I was, a freshman in high school. So I'm not gonna say that. And the ultimate goal is to always play professionally, get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's not a thing that is just like, hey, it's got to happen right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm living in it now, right now. So whether that's going to the MLB right now, or if it's 3 years from now after I get done and we go to Omaha and win a national championship at Grambling, you know what I'm saying? So it's not a right now thing or a later on thing. It's a however it plays out type of thing. So I never say either one is ruled out in my decision making, because obviously the draft next month. But man, it's kind of like a chess thing. Just letting it happen, let it play out, because God's plan is gonna prevail either way it goes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just living in a moment, honestly. Like, I'm still a kid in a candy store that's just made history. So I'm not even like thinking about either one of those things, man. I'm just trying to keep shining my light, man, and keep inspiring, honestly. Cause man, the kids looking up, watching me. Like, I get a million calls from like little kids, you know what I'm saying? Little text messages from kids. So it's bigger than baseball for me. So baseball is really the last thing that's on my mind right now. It's a impacting people around me and just making them overall grounded people. That's what it's about for me right now. I'm not even just worried about either process, because it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna pan out how it's supposed to. And yeah, I'm gonna go with it like that. I'm not gonna rush into anything. Like, I'm just having fun with it. Like, I don't want it to come out to be like I have to make it to the MLB right now, or like I'm so hard on Grambling that the MLB is out of the picture right now. So just playing it how it's given to me and just letting it all play out.
It's real. Like, if you do, let's say you do land at Grambling, this is what happens. I've heard you previously discuss playing multiple sports.
Mm-hmm.
Is an idea of playing baseball and football still a thing for you at Grambling, or you are solely focused on playing baseball?
That's funny because, hey man, like, literally every school I ever talked to, that was the thing. Like, hey, you sure you don't want to play football? So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I say that I'm done with football and I just want to play baseball and just focus on baseball, because I am curious. Like, my whole life I play every sport, and now I'm kind of curious how good I could be if I just focus on baseball. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy to think about. My whole life I've made it this far, being this good, but not focusing on baseball only during season. You know, so it's definitely a curious thing, a curiosity thing, to where like, wonder how good I can be, but at the same time, I'm really not even worried about it. Like, it'll come out how I want to be. But I can't say this though. I love football.
Yeah.
I hold it dearly to my heart. I tell people this all the time. Football is fun, but baseball is where my heart's at. Now I'm gonna be honest though. Fun, a lot of people like fun outweighs your heart sometimes,
It does.
You know what I'm saying? So once again, I ain't gonna say it's ruled out, and I'm not gonna say I want to do it, but it's kind of a thing. If it happens, it happens. And if it's God's plan, that's what we rolling with.
Okay, I'm not gonna press you too far on it, but I have to know.
Right.
Has Coach Jackson given you a call? That might determine a lot.
He has not, man. He has not.
You ain't playing football, man. You ain't. Hey, go ahead and focus on that diamond, baby. Cause you, Coach Jackson said, "Look, you a baseball player. That you know what really happened is the baseball team spoke to the football team and said, he's ours. He's out. This ain't you, Hugh. You stay out of it, and you just go ahead and let him be with us. All right. So I know you've also played multiple positions. Is there a position that you plan on solely focusing on if you just had to pick one on the diamond?
A lot of scouts project me to be a long-time center fielder, but I mean, high school, my freshman and sophomore year, I played center field, and then my junior, senior year, I played shortstop. And it's kind of crazy because before I got to high school, like rankings-wise, I was the number 2 shortstop in the state. Then I got to high school, I was the number 1 outfielder in the state. So, man, just throw me in the middle. I'm ready to play. You know what I'm saying? It don't even matter. Just whatever. But yeah, I think I'll probably stick. I'll be in center field at Grambling and also in the pros. So yeah, I say center field because the speed, the arm, and just being electric. They love center fielders like that. So I think I project real well in center field. But I mean, if I can get on, like if I'm on the field, man, I feel like I can play. I feel like I can play first base, man. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I can pass the bubble gum out the best. You know what I'm saying? Just put me on the field. It's whatever.
Yeah. And we're all about telling stories, man. So we haven't even got too much in the X's and O's outside of that. But I want to look at the growth for you personally, whether that's on or off the field. What do you feel like has been your greatest space of or your greatest sign of growth for you over the last year?
My greatest sign of growth is like the maturity part. You know what I'm saying? And actually like not taking anything for granted. Because like, you know how they tell you when you're a kid, hey, enjoy being a kid because once it's over, it's over. I didn't learn that till I got to high school, probably my sophomore year. You know what I'm saying? I saw one of my best friends that was seniors cry after we lost in the playoffs in baseball and football. And that's when it hit me like, this is real. You know what I'm saying? So the maturity for sure. And also like, once again, we talked about the pressure. Not trying to live up to nobody's hype or expectations over me. Just being who I am, being me. Like that was the hardest thing. That is the hardest thing to overcome because you get trapped into trying to be somebody like being perfect, like trying to be Superman. And it's hard to play like that because at the end of the day, it's still a game. It's still supposed to be fun. You know what I mean? I'm a 18-year-old kid, man, that's, I just got done playing in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? Not too long ago, a couple years ago. So like trying to do too much and just trying to like live up to everybody else and what they think you should be instead of just being who you are. That's why I matured at. And that's the thing that I'm happiest about when it comes to growth, because it was real tough to like overcome those things because you get put in this box, you know what I'm saying, that you got to be this. You have to, or you're a failure. Anything less of becoming who they think you should be, you're a failure. And you believe it. When people tell you something, if somebody was to tell you something so much over and over and over and over, you start to believe it. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that anybody told me that I was a failure, but I can feel that if I lived their expectations, they look at me like I was, you know what I'm saying? I'm a pushover, or I'm not that guy that they thought I was. When in reality, I'm just trying to be who you want me to be, and I'm not being myself, which is plenty enough. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's where people have that struggle at in their careers, and like, especially coming from like smaller towns, like you think you got to be this big hometown hero when you're the hometown hero just because of who you are and not because who they want you to be. When I learned that, It's over with, man.
Man, thank you. And there's one thing I need from you before you get out of here. Every episode, I kick it off. Oh yeah, it's locked on HBCU. Play my music, and all I need is a play my music out of you, man, before we get up out of here.
That's a bet. Right now?
Yeah, man. Let me get it. Let me hear you.
Bet. Play my music.
Yes, sir, man. Look, it's been Martavius Thomas, the highest rated HBCU baseball recruit in history here on Locked on HBCU. I am extremely grateful you reached out. Thank you. If you are looking for him on Twitter, he's at _Martavius, the number 1. So Martavius1. Make sure you use that number, man. Thank you for coming on, and I can't wait to see what you do at Grambling, and hopefully even get you on closer to the season so we can discuss some things that have happened since then.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, y'all. Until the next time we hear each other, family, I'll be back on Monday. Take care. Stay blessed. Peace.